if you want to renew
the farcical economy!
The farcical economy!
Woohoo!
I'm just going to steal your umbrella here for a little bit.
Hi.
Hi.
Can you all hear me?
Can you all hear me?
Okay, awesome. So I've never done this before, so just bear with me. And I guess wave your hands if you can't hear me. Okay, so hi. My name's Laura Harper, and I'm a lobbyist.
Hi, Laura!
Oh, no. I'm not one of those lobbyists. No. I don't wear the shiny shoes and fly around in the corporate jet. I use my powers for good. I am a lobbyist for an advocacy organization, a non-profit organization. I work for the Maine Women's Lobby. Thank you. So we've been around since 1978, and we are the voice of Maine women at the State House. We advocate for health care, for freedom from violence and discrimination, and for economic security. So as a lobbyist, I analyze every single piece of legislation. That's over 2,000 bills a session. I write testimony on upwards of 80 bills, and I lobby over 100 to 500 bills each session. So every day they're up there, I'm up there to make sure the voice of Maine women is being heard. Bear with me. You guys are so awesome. Okay, so what can I share with you about this past legislative session? It sucked. Really sucked. Okay, so ordinary, everyday Mainers and their families experienced unprecedented attacks and insults from the new administration and from some lawmakers. But I don't need to tell you that. I'm sure you've read it every day in the news. I mean, most recently we heard about how state workers are corrupt. We heard about BPA is just going to give women little beards. We heard about child labor laws that need to be loosened so kids can go to work at younger and younger ages. And we've heard about one thing most of all, and that's fraud. Fraud. Voter fraud, main care fraud, TANF fraud, welfare fraud. It's fraud this and fraud that. And it can get really depressing. And in the final days of our legislature, we saw dangerous proposals to roll back our workers' comp system. And prior to that, we saw family child care providers, the majority of which are women, lose their right to organize. And even earlier than that, despite bipartisan support, we saw agricultural workers at industrial egg farms lose their right to organize.
Would it be helpful if I just held your megaphone and you could...
It might be.
Here,
I'm going to skip a bit.
Cool.
Why don't you get up on this?
Use your voice, your own voice, and louder.
Just use the mic check.
Well, it's really not.
Okay, so I'm going to skip a bit. Okay, so what's left on the legislature, because they're not actually done. So what's left? That's LD 309. Have you guys heard of LD 309? The so-called right to work or fair share bill? So this bill is out there. It's dangling by a legislative thread. It remains tabled unassigned in the House. It would make it much more difficult for our brothers and sisters in the public sector to unionize. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about the legislature. There are different ways to table bills. And this bill is tabled basically at the kids' table. So I don't know if you remember when you were younger and you got sent to the kids' table. Maybe it was a card table out on the porch where you had dinner so you didn't bother the adults. That's where they put LD 309 because they think that we're just going to forget it's there. And you know what? When they go back in May 15th, there's no way we're going to forget LD 309 is there. And when the legislature wraps up, we're going to make sure that that table, that kids' table, is cleaned up because that bill is toast. Yay!